back to Last Cast. This is part 2 of our match style approach to these kind of venues. We're going to go on to paste fishing in this part. We're going to look at the rigs, how we prepare the paste and how we go about feeding the peg. Right, we're going to start fishing on the paste now. Again, as I say, the fish will start coming in later on in the day and later on in the match. I wouldn't usually move on to this if the pellet waggler was still fishing really well. If it was in a match, I'd carry on fishing that all the way through. The rig that we've got, double 10 elastic at the top, nice and tight, strong elastic, because you're going to be catching big fish on paste. The main line's 0.17, 0.15 hook length, big size 12 hook. Might even move up to a 10 if we start getting pestered by skimmers and things. Ultra shot. Now it's important with paste fishing that the shot doesn't quite bring the float to the bristle. You want it to go about halfway down the body. That way when you get a bite, the float will pop up, or when the paste is off, and that's the main reason, you'll be able to see the float pop up. The float's a long one, you need a long bristle on any float that you use for paste. This is about 0.4. Again, the weight's not really important, but you know, rule of thumb with the depth again applies. So the shot just there, strung out. Again, you want that quite far from your hook. The bite's going to be very positive, and with the weight of the paste, you don't need droppers or anything of the sort. So we're going to have a quick plumb up now, get it millimetre perfect. Right, so we're now going to plumb the peg. The important thing is that you get the float just down to half bristle with the when the plummet's on. Again, the plummet is going to be a similar kind of weight to the paste, so you want to get it absolutely accurate. As you can see here, I've got my far bank marker. I've already plumbed up a bit, found the depth perfectly there. You want to make sure you're just on the bottom of the shelf. You want the bottom to be as flat as possible, but you also need a hard bottom to fish on. If it's got silt, you're going to have problems with the fish fizzing up. You're going to get lots of line bites and not many proper indications. So you want to find a nice hard bit of lake bed to fish on. So with that done, we're now going to move on to the bait. Right, we're now going to run through how to prepare paste. For this kind of fishing, you want a ground bait that's not too coarse. You want it to be quite fine but hold a lot of water. Yeah, ideally you want sort of a sticky mix. Something like this, which has got ground down pellets, is ideal. Again, it's going to replicate what we're feeding, but equally they'll absorb a lot of water and bind quite nicely. So a ground bait like this is ideal. Again, the colour and other things are just subjective. You can pick what you want. The important thing now is you always add the ground bait to the water when you're paste fishing. It's the inverse of ground bait, because then you can get your consistency. I'm also going to put in a bit of liquid flavour. Again, this is just to boost it, speed up the process of catching. Plenty of that in there. And now we're going to prepare the paste. Again, you want to add the ground bait to the water and just swill it round with your hand until you get the right consistency that you're looking for. Again, this is something you want to leave for 5 minutes or so, 10 minutes after you've done it, just to give the paste a chance to all get the water in the particles and set itself properly. You want to mix your paste as sloppy as possible so it still stays on the hook. Again, this just speeds up bites. If you've got a big block of paste, you're going to get bites, but it's not going to be quite as quick and you're going to have to strike through it. It's starting to become the right consistency now. Just a little bit more ground bait. See, the mix smells very sweet because of the attractant we put in and the fact that it's a fish meal type ground bait. Now this is the consistency that you're looking for. Doesn't quite hold in your fingers, drops apart like that, but it will still hold the hook. We're going to be using bits of paste about that kind of size. Again, you can go bigger or use smaller bits of paste depending on the fish. As you can see, that's the paste finished now. We'll give that a couple of minutes to set properly and take on all the water, and then we'll start fishing with it. Right, we're now going to feed the peg with paste. It's a self-feeding bait pretty much, because when you lift the paste off the hook it'll drop off, but to start the peg off, don't be afraid to put a lot of bait in a full pot, 8mm, 6mm pellet and bits of corn and hemp. Again, it doesn't really matter what you feed, it can be any bait, as long as there's good quantity and it's going to stay there on the bottom. When paste fishing, I like to have a rough spread of bait. Again, you don't want to concentrate the fish perfectly like you would in some other methods. You want the fish grubbing about, so then they're going to be actively trying to find your hook bait. Now the bait's gone in, we're going to give that 5-10 minutes and then go over it with the paste. You don't want to go straight over the top of it, because then you're likely to spook fish that are just entering the peg. Right, we're going to start fishing paste now. The important thing is you have a pot on the end of your pole. This is to hold the paste, because you can't trip out, it'll just drop the paste off the hook. An important fact as well to consider is here is how the rig hangs when you're shipping out. You want the pot set just back from the tip, otherwise it's going to spin round. You want the shot there and the float about there, so it's kind of level, and then nice arc in the line below. This just stops tangles when you're shipping out, stops the rig spinning up, and means that you can actually get the bait to where it needs to be. Oh, look at that. That fish actually took the bait just on the drop, put a slightly smaller piece of paste on, and as soon as the float had gone in, that was it, he was away. Again, going to feed some pellets over the top, you need to keep the fish interested. Just using the puller kit just to put some more pressure on the fish. Again, this way you need to have faith in your gear, using the heavier lines, big hooks, so you can bully these fish out away from snags like we've got to our left. have another fish, slightly smaller than the last, but nonetheless still a good size. There we have the result of pace fishing. At least there'll be no small fish going across. Tell when you spook as well, because it all is a big. Into another carp on the paste here. Keeping the pull nice and low. As we're fishing close in, you've got to be aware that the fish will be moving through your peg. So again, we're just going to put a bit more bait in there, just to try and get the fish focused in the same spot again. Just nicked the side of the mouth. Nice long lean common carp, probably about 4 or 5 pounds. An important factor to consider obviously when you're pace fishing is the depth. Now after you're catching fish of that kind of size, the float can move up and down the line, so it's important that you mark with a marker pen or piece of Tipex the depth. Because the float's just moved up about half an inch there, that's going to render the pace fishing less effective. So it's important to bring that float back to where it needs to be, so you'll still see the bites develop properly. A really aggressive take on the face. Had a few small indications the float did go under several times there, but again, you don't need to strike with those kind of bites. Just using the puller kit just to put some more pressure on the fish, try and get his head up. Feels like a good sized fish again. Because you're fishing paste, you can use a big bait. That bait I put on was about the size of a golf ball. Much more selective than other smaller baits that you might use. Another nice carp, similar size to the previous one. That was a big block of paste, was that? Fish just leave it alone. Straight into another fish there, getting important. You always have your other sections behind you when you get a fish like this. Swimming, far out into the lake, you need to be able to follow the fish out. Again, just taking my time with the fish, away from all the danger in the peg, and all the snags. It's just a case now of tiring the fish. Steady pressure on the fish, just keeping it away from the snags. Against the middle. Definitely you can tell by how far. Yeah, that's a good fish. In the bag. These are the stamp of fish that you'll end up getting on pace. A lot larger fish again, big baits and quick bites. That was only about 30 seconds in the water was that. Seen plenty of indications, then the float just buried. We'll get him back. See, as soon as the pace to the bottom there, the fish was straight on it. Again, getting the extra sections on the pole just to keep the fish away from any bankside snags. this is the purpose of using heavy gear. As the fish has gone to the trees, I've been able to steer it away. That's the advantage of using doubled up solid elastic. A heavy hollow elastic, I might well have lost the fish to that tree. Phone call's going to have to wait. Hardest fighting of the day, this. Will be a few pounds this one. Right, well that concludes our session from Moor, Monkton Pools. We've had a fantastic session today. In just over 5 hours we've put together well over 100 pounds of fish, mainly carp. We've ended up fishing pace down the near side towards the end of the session. That's produced fish well up to double figures, and we've had plenty of fish in the sort of £5 to £6 bracket on the pellet waggler and bomb. Well that concludes it today, and hopefully we'll catch you on the next one.
Yeah, bye.
I've just tasted a while.
Oh, you got one?
Where's my landing net gone?
Look at that.
Oh, it's barely hooked actually. Getting full foot. Just had this fish on paste. About 5-10 minutes after going back in, I've had a few indications and the float's just buried. Probably about 8 to 10 pounds. Right, that concludes our session from Sean Connery says.
Don't forget to say we'll catch you next time.
Lashed cast. The only thing spoiled today is my hangover, but right.